As soon as you enter Gallery 6, Nyonya, look forward and you will be able to see 3 different types of telephones. Walk towards them and you will be able to differentiate the 3 different telephones. What are the uses of these telephones, you ask? Well, for every phone you pick up, you will be able to listen to what Perankan ladies talked about in their past. For the first phone, it is bronze in color, most probably found in the 1930s. On this phone, the lady you'll be talking to is your sister Sunil, and you are Richard. She will be telling you that your mother is seriously ill, as you are currently studying in London. On the next phone, which is black in color, most probably found in the 1950s. On this phone, you are called Betty, and you will be talking to your best friend Maureen. She will be inviting you for a job interview. Going on to the next phone, which is yellow in color, most probably found in the 1970s. On this phone, you will be called Daisy. The lady you will be talking to is called Rosie, and she is calling you to gossip about her daughter-in-law. After listening to all the phone calls, turn 90 degrees and you will be able to see a poem titled The World of Nyonya. This poem describes many qualities traditionally desired of a daughter-in-law of a Perankan family and a Perankan lady also known as a Nyonya of the past aspired to be. It also illustrates a literary form which tells a great deal about the Perankan society. As children growing up in the Perankan home are exposed to a variety of story, verses, saying, nursery rhymes, and folk songs. These were important aspects of family life, as were the stories such as those taken from Cerita Dulu Kala, which I will tell you more about in a while. These tales and poems are not just a source of entertainment, they also often lay lessons, morals, and social values in the beneath of the witty phrases. Next to the poem, you will be able to find a vintage collection of storybooks. On the bottom shelf, you will be able to find a collection of a book titled Cerita Dulu Kala. Cerita Dulu Kala, loosely translated as Tales of the Ancient Times. These volumes are serial books of Chinese stories and legends. There will be often a colorful illustration depicting characters from the story appearing in the opening page of these books. On the top shelf, you will be able to see 5 copies of Cerita Dulu Kala on the far left. Next to it, you will be able to see a copy of The Storyteller. Next to it, you will be able to find Urung Jana Purnakana. Next to it, you'll be able to find a copy of Urung Jana Purnakana. Next to the collection of storybooks, you'll be able to find 2 headsets. For the first button, for the headset nearest to the vintage collection of storybooks, it will be talking about Mr. Li Lianghe, reflecting on the importance of works like Cerita Dulu Kala. For the next button below, you will be able to listen to a storytelling session based on an episode of Su Jin Kui campaigns or expeditions in the West in the year 1921. For the first button next to the headset, you will be able to experience the power of music nurture and comfort of music to nurture and comfort as Celine, a modern-day Nyonya, shares this aspect of cultural heritage. The button below it is the same as the second button in the first headset, so you will not need to listen to it again.
After you are done with the telephones, turn 180 degrees and you will see some cabinets with glass tops. If you look over the glass tops, you will see a pair of beautiful embroidered wedding slippers and a patchwork covering side by side. The embroidered slippers were worn by the donnor's mother for a wedding in the early 1940s, which was a gift from her grandmother. Footwear was traditionally considered as an essential item in the wedding trousseau in the olden times, and was normally crafted by the bride-to-be. In some occasions, the footwear would be made by professional embroiderers, but it was not frowned upon, as it was thought to reflect the family's wealth. The patchwork covering is assembled from scraps of fabric, and support cushions were sewn by bride-to-bes. Before paper shoeboxes came into use, the slippers would be carefully wrapped up in this fabric, following by fastening the slippers with the length of fabric that was attached to the corner of the covering to protect them from dust and insects. Then, let your eyes travel to the next item beside the patchwork, the shreds of beads in 5 colors. The beads are glass beads. which in the olden days, the beads are strung in bundles of 10 and were peddled by travelling haberdashers, also known as clantong men. The name clantong came from the clanging sound of his hand-held drum, which signaled his arrival to the people, getting their attention to buy thread needles and glass beads. Take 2 steps sideways to your left and you will find yourself looking at a beautiful piece of art. It is the slipper faces on a frame. The wooden frame, also known as Perankan, is a very important tool when making beaded slippers. It is as important to be described as the first step to success when making a pair of beaded slippers. The fabric base would secure the frame using a thick piece of string and would be adjusted to the appropriate tension to ensure even sewing of the stitches or when anchoring the glass beads. Walk back to the end of the cabinet where you started and read the text on the podium, Becoming a Nyonya, which basically tells you about their lives as a young nyonya and what they do in daily life, as well as the desirable virtues that is supposed to be found in a good wife material. Following which, turn left and you are on the opposite side of the cabinet where you started with. Now look down as if you're looking at your shoes, and you will find that you see 2 handles. Bend down slightly and pull the handle slightly as you do not want to jerk the drawers. Open the first drawer and you will see this. Practice sample with European influence motifs. These big work samplers could have been either used for practice or patterns for copying circulated amongst friends or relatives. The outlines of the designs were first marked out in the area within then filled in. Designs from European stitch instructional books became popular with nyonyas from 10th 1930s, particularly those in Penang. These allude to the increasingly cosmopolitan social context in which their maker lived. What is striking about this piece is the reference to its master's voice, the now iconic image of a dog and a gramophone popularized in the early part of the century. On another piece, a squirrel-like creature sits on top of floral buds. It is likely that the word slamat is a variation of salamat, which means safety or peace. The technique of stitching involves anchoring each bead into a even weaves fabric using petite point stitch derived from cross stitch. Look closely and you'll notice how each bead have been oblique orientation. For added relief and texture, pre-cut cardboard designs were sometimes pasted onto the fabric before working a sample satin stitch over them. When you open the second drawer, you will then see 2 more other pieces. In the drawer of the second column, you will see 4 slipper faces, 2 in which are incomplete. After the drawer with the 4 slipper faces, you will then see a display of a kabaya sleeve. This sleeve is part of the kabaya, which is worn by Perankan ladies. The raised patterns on sleeves are made by sewing the threads very closely together. After the display of the kabaya sleeves, you will see a display on wooden clocks or terumpan if you open the first drawer. Perankan ladies wore wooden clocks at home. When you pull the handle of the next drawer, you will see a beaded slipper or kasut minik. Thousands of beads are used to make just 1 slipper. To do beadwork, a girl has to be very patient.
Now let's move on to the next exhibit. On the right hand side of the second glass top table, you will be able to see 3 purses. These purses, which were decorated with colorful glass beads, were made for ceremonial use during the Perankan wedding. Items such as these were typically made by the bride-to-be ahead of the event. In some cases, it can also be made by her relatives. The glass beads that are sewn on these purses are minuscule. Some of them can be as small as 0.5 millimeters in diameter. Thus, this requires very fine needles which would have been easily bent or broken. Only a worker with exceptional skill and eyesight will be able to sew these types of purses easily. Next to the 3 purses, there are 2 beaded cases. The top case is a spectacle case with metallic beads, while the bottom one is a beaded down nipa case. The metallic beads used on the spectacle case are known as manik berigu and are generally associated with earlier instances of beadwork. The beaded down nipa case was made in Indonesia between the 19th to 20th centuries. Dried nipa leaves are used for rolling cigarettes. Hand-rolled cigarettes were popular amongst the Indonesian Perankans. This down nipa case bears the name of its owners. Beside them, you will get to see an elegant beaded bag with a metallic clasp and a chain, as well as a beautiful striped purse. Both these items were found by Straits settlements between the early to the mid-20th century. These items suggest the westernized taste of their owners. The creamy pastel tones are different as compared to the vibrant and bright colors of the traditional Perankan textile arts. The handbag at the right-hand side has elements of tendrils and floral flourishes, similar to the motifs on European decorative arts at the turn of the 20th century. The scrolling designs formed from cut glass beads of 4 colors are a contrast to more familiar Perankan motifs. Many nonyas enjoyed beadworking and practiced beyond the obligations to make their wedding trousseau. They keep themselves occupied with making a lively range of personal objects as well as household items for their daily use.
Beside that, there is a section called Nyonya Fashion. This section is about the confluence of Chinese, Malay, Indonesian and Western influences. This section also provides a glimpse of the historical evaluation of Nyonya Fashion. When you enter Nyonya Fashion, a selection of different types of kabayas will capture your attention. Firstly, you may see a red color baju panjang which is worn as the top. A baju panjang is mostly brown, red or indigo and is accompanied with a sarong of similar color. This was the choice of attire during the 1850s. Baju panjang is a loose piece of tunic and is made from kain chele, a woven checkered cloth. It can also be made from batik with small, simple and repetitive patterns. Beside the baju panjang, you may see 2 of the earliest type of kabayas worn by nonyas. You may also notice that it resembles a shortened version of a baju panjang. Although other local communities of Southeast Asia also wore kabayas, nonyas developed a distinctive style of kabayas in terms of forms and decorations. Next to the 2 kabayas of the earliest type, you can see a baju kun with designs of magpies and blossoms, and a pink cheongsam with sequined dragon pattern. These dresses were inspired by the fashion trends of Shanghai and Hong Kong, and thus became a nonya's dress in the early 20th century. The cheongsam and baju Shanghai were frequently made from Chinese silk and often decorated with Chinese designs such as dragons, magpies, and plum blossoms. This is the reason why the cheongsam and baju kun on display here are having Chinese motifs. In front of these displays, you may see 3 kabaya tops of different designs and colors. As for the first kabaya, you may notice that there is a design of cockerels, hens and chicks gathering to feast on maize grains, and this evokes a scene of plenty and togetherness. Next, you will see an osha kabayas with cutwork embroidery. The cutwork embroidery resembles wickerwork, and it also comprises a motif of shou, a Chinese character for longevity. The use of this particular wish as a design element indicates that this kabaya would have been worn by older nonyas. Last but not least, you will see a striped kabaya with antelopes. The simple design of antelopes suggests that this particular piece would have been worn every day. The kabayas is also made of a thicker and as a result more durable than the popular fine voile.